Hey there, welcome to the Impatient Entrepreneur podcast, a show where we hear from entrepreneurs and business owners who are chomping at the bit to make their mark on the world. I'm your host, Lauren Quidar-Cockrell. Now, let's hurry up and get to the good stuff. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I have Zorina Pritchett today with me, and she is with ZoChey, which is a really fun new brand, and I cannot wait for her to tell us all about it. Zorina, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Lauren. Mind telling a little bit about myself. I am a disabled Army veteran, a caregiver, and now I am a new small business owner with a business that focus on creating products that are educational and engaging and entertaining for children. That is my new career after retiring 30 years of serving veterans at the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Well, thank you.
Yes, I'm very excited about this new entrepreneurial journey.
Well, thank you for your service. I hope people tell you that enough. And I love that you're doing something that brings you joy, I hope. And I want to hear a little bit more about that. But first, I have to ask you, Zorina, are you an impatient entrepreneur?
That is a very good question. If I wasn't here and everybody's watching me, I will break down and cry because that's how I feel sometimes. I feel like I'm so impatient that I'm on this roller coaster when I really think I got it together. And then some curve will happen is like, and I want to catch on to it really quickly. Mm-hmm. So yes, when I think about how impatient I am, it's really because I want to get it, Lauren. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to understand business acumen and do the right thing because I'm advocating for children with digital balance. Mm-hmm. And so my anxiety kicks in because I think I'm not doing enough. Mm-hmm. I'm not effective. And so it keeps me in knots and makes me feel like I'm impatient all over the place.
Well, does it make you feel any better that a lot of people feel that way? You're in good company, okay? So tell us how, you've had this career path and now you've taken a pretty sharp right turn into this product development. What happened? What was the genesis of this?
Well, back in 21, I had a dream of this game. Mm-hmm. And so I developed it. My storytelling skills really helped. And when I realized the importance of digital balance and I saw how my granddaughters love the game and how quickly, and that was something they told me, Gigi, it plays really fast. It keeps your attention. And then when I started doing my own research about digital and just actually looking at other people's kids, and I noticed everyone has a gadget mm-hmm. and they bring it with their kids. And then I was like, you know what? Something's not right. And so having that military background, how you just get used to fighting for something, mm-hmm. like fighting for my country was the primary focus for military. Mm-hmm. Well, now I feel like I'm fighting for our kids to try to get parents to realize that digital is wonderful. But as an adult, we have boundaries and we know what they are, but kids, all they see is a gadget and I'm having fun. Mm-hmm. And so it's up to parents to establish the boundaries. And that is what I want to do. I want to also promote my product, which is just a tool to help mm-hmm. to have that digital balance, to get them off the screen time because clinicians recommend 1 to 2 hours per day and then mix it up with some other interactive tools because studies are showing that too much digital, it really hampers their social mm-hmm, development. Mm-hmm. And so I think the combination of military, the courage, the leadership, the training, and the resilience is what I'm trying to do. And when I say it makes me impatient sometimes, it's because I want to get this right. Yeah. I really feel like I got to get this right.
And then, the business is new. How long has it been available for purchase, the game?
Since October.
Okay. Yeah. Early days.
Well, that's when I started the business in July, after I took an accelerated veterans course. Mm-hmm. They try to encourage veterans to go into business. Mm-hmm. I wasn't able to save my money until around about September to get all the money together mm-hmm. to buy the inventory so I can compete with the companies at a fair market price. Mm-hmm. So it went online at Walmart around October. Mm-hmm.
Which is huge. I've heard it's very difficult to break into a major retailer like Walmart. You're just, casually a month after.
Well, actually, it's online.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking, no big deal. But then I'm realizing that's still a
Oh
victory
yeah.
that I should celebrate that it's online. So I'm
Hmm.
doing that,
Hmm.
guys.
Yeah, you are. You are. Yeah, that's many retailer or many small business owners like you would kill to be represented by a behemoth like Walmart. So you should be very proud of that, and to have it
Thank
happen
you.
in a not a lot of time. I mean, you were selling it in brick and mortar stores where you are, is that correct, beforehand?
No, actually, I applied for one of our local restaurants that pick up little small artists. I did some vending.
Hmm.
That's how I was promoting too. But as I stated earlier, I'm a disabled
Hmm.
veteran. And when I tried the vending, it takes so much out of my
Yeah.
body. And so because I'm a caregiver for my disabled brother,
Hmm.
I have to really balance
Hmm.
everything. And again, that's something too that contributes to that
Sure.
impatience is trying to have the balance between my disabilities and showing up for him.
Hmm.
And then I just added something else.
Uh-oh.
I do presentations for veterans to help them get their VA
Oh my
benefits.
goodness. Well, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And I've heard that that can be sometimes a complicated process if you don't necessarily know what you're doing. So I'm glad you're involved in that. What do you wish people knew, or as you look at your competitors or people who are buying your products, or who would potentially represent you, what do you wish people knew more about having some disabilities that are, like you're having to manage your time and your energy? What do you wish people knew more about that?
I wish that people know that I'm learning. It's okay that we have limitations and we have to acknowledge them. I was trying to do everything like normal business people, just get in there, work the long
Mm-hmm.
hours, and then I started getting sick. I failed twice since I started my
Mm-hmm.
business, losing my balance, causing the flare ups of my conditions. And so I would tell people with disabilities, do not be afraid to still go into business. I think you just need to be mindful of your limitations and work within the boundaries of it
Mm-hmm.
and pace yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that we can be successful because I am meeting other dynamic, amazing business people that are passing on information that helps me. And if there's things that I just don't get because of the concussion that I have,
Mm-hmm.
they take the time to explain it. Also applied for some networking. I just got selected by an organization that sponsored me to help me to build I call it my infrastructure to understand more about
Mm-hmm.
business because I was struggling to connect the dots. And even though with my struggles, I never felt like giving up, Lauren,
Mm-hmm.
I just made me press on even more because I feel like all of us deserve an opportunity to give back to the world with a great product or service that people need to make their lives better.
Mm-hmm.
So as a disabled person, you can do this. You just need some support and be mindful of your disability and work within your confinements or boundaries
Mm-hmm.
that make you effective in your
Mm-hmm.
business.
Yeah, I just feel like, so many stories that you hear about entrepreneurs and business owners, they're just like, well, I just worked 24/7 for 7 years and I just ground it out and I sacrificed my health and my life and my family and everything. And, it's not necessarily a blessing that you have some challenges that, you don't necessarily enjoy them all the time, I'm sure. But at the same time, having some boundaries around that so that you don't just burn yourself out all the time. I can see that there's a silver lining in that perhaps too.
That's true. That's true. I wish I could do like burn out the hours because sometimes I'm in so much pain
Oh.
I can't move. And so I started having a pad for when I get
Hmm.
ideas of things that I want to
Hmm.
do, write them down instead of keeping in my head.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I did question, do disabled people deserve to be in this space? Am
Hmm.
I like having an unrealistic expectation? But then when I think about the advocacy of our kids and how technology is steadily growing and parents are being inundated with just trying to make a living, someone has to be advocating for them. And I want to join with the millions of other people that are looking at our kids and their future and wanting them to have the social and emotional well-being that they deserve.
That's so beautiful. I'm glad you're doing this. Tell me more about the program you just went through or are going through as far as learning the business acumen.
It's Project Opportunity. Joe, I can't pronounce his name. It's an Italian name. He started this nonprofit to help veterans because I don't know if many people know that veterans tend to have a high unemployment. And we know that there are people that have stigma or prejudice against veterans. And we don't want to admit that because we're thinking they come back from combat, they have some issues. But veterans want to work. We're so used to having things orderly in our life and they want to work. And so starting this program really helped veterans that have that entrepreneurial spirit to get in there, to learn the principles and then make a conscious decision. Do I really want to venture out into this space? Because it is a challenging space. It does take a lot. You're wearing so many hats. And so he works with us. But another organization that I like to tell you is SCORE. You've probably heard about SCORE. I work a lot with SCORE. I have a great mentor. SCORE is helping me as well because sometimes when I'm sitting in a classroom, Lauren, I just can't write fast because of the nerve damage in my hand. And SCORE gives me the opportunity to go back, look at their webinars and look them over and over and say, aha, I got it now. So those organizations are really great for veterans.
Good. We'll be sure to link to those in the show notes if people are wanting to follow along there. So in addition to those programs, are you a podcast person? Do you like to read or listen to books? Are you going, is there anything else you're doing to help educate yourself on this journey? I mean, we all, I find that entrepreneurs are a group of people who really like to learn and continue to improve themselves. So I always like to give my guests an opportunity to share, if there's something that's been meaningful to them as they move along.
Well, actually, I haven't been doing a lot of reading. I did start this. I'm one of these salad bowl readers. I pick up a book, read a chapter here, then go to something else. I'm like, it's hard for me to stay focused. So let me just put it out there. It has a diagnosis, but I dare not say it here. But I have a hard time being focused. And so I've been trying to read Social Media for Dummies because I do feel like a dummy. I'm trying to promote my business. So I do dabble with reading that. I started reading Thomas Ellis' book. I forgot the name of it. It's an acronym. It's about selling, the effective process of selling. He had a proven method. And then I just started that sponsor group that I taught, Calls of Eagle. Every Wednesday, they give us a 30-minute training, and then we talk about it. They're going to help us with strategies. So right now, I've just really been trying to take a little bit here, a little bit there. It is overwhelming at times, but I think it works best for me right now because that is something I don't want to do is get stressed out. And I know that business is stressful. But again, because I know my limitations, I have to do what works for me. So I do have a call every morning with a bunch of women entrepreneurs. So I pick up from their experiences, which I recommend to our entrepreneurs. A network of friends who are in the same space as you really help because we do go on an emotional roller coaster and they don't teach you that in class, but you learn that from your fellow entrepreneurs that you can do this and they want you to succeed. And that really makes me feel wonderful being a part of that.
Well, I mean, that's honestly one of the reasons I created this show because it's so lonely and we go through so much as entrepreneurs, and to be able to hear from other people and to almost create a community of folks who are going through maybe not the same journey, but something similar that they can take away and feel like, okay, I'm not in this by myself. Someone else is going through something like me too. So, but yeah, I'm glad you have that community because it can feel like you're just rattling around in a cage all by yourself and just like, what am I doing here?
That's true, especially when you're trying to come up with that marketing strategy. And guys, I'm still struggling with that. But I think one day I crossed that line. At least I know one thing about marketing now is you always have to keep thinking about it.
That's true.
It may work now, but 6 months from now, you'll be like, what? I got to think of another plan.
Yeah. Yes.
So, yeah.
Can confirm. It's definitely something we have to keep working on. So you have your current product. Do you have other product lines or expansion packs or anything like that on the horizon?
I do have a third game that I've conceptualized. I'm waiting on Copyright Office to approve the images because I feel like, you don't want to put the game out there testing and then there's something wrong with your images or you're infringing on someone else's copyright.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have my third game that's an interactive too.
Okay.
And then I have a children's book, Dancing Teardrops, that currently being with the illustrator. We're about ready to wrap that up.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. And then last night I couldn't sleep because I was thinking of another game that came to me. So I need to write that one down. I mean, I'm just enjoying this space.
Mm-hmm.
It is just really another post-retirement that gives me purpose, that want me to continue to be impactful to the world and bring something positive. And that's what motivates me, really, the positive of what I'm trying to do.
I love it. So I like to ask all my guests, if there's something in their business life where when it happened, you felt like the rug had been pulled out from underneath you and you felt like this is the worst thing that could ever happen to me. But then with some time and distance and growth, you realize that it was actually the best thing that's ever happened to you. Do you have something that you could share along those lines?
Okay. I'm laughing because I created this game from a dream. And I knew very little about creating a game, but I did, right? And so how the ladies can relate to this, and maybe the men too. You know how you tell someone and you give them directions or instructions, and you might say, just a pinch of salt. Well, a pinch to you may be just a pinch, but to someone else, it might be a tablespoon. And so when it was ready to package my game, I was very confident. I've tested it over a year. Everything seems right? I didn't test my rules until I got them all ordered and everything. And then I sold a couple of them. The lady circled back and she said, I can't figure out this game. Even though she's played it, I can't. And I had ordered 500. I saved up enough money to order 500 copies. And I'm scrambling. I'm feeling really bad. I'm feeling really defeated. And that comes with the territory of the journey. And so, but I thought about it. I stayed up and I rewrote the rules. And I kept rewriting them. I reached out to the Walmart group that I'm a part of on Facebook, got some information how they were proceeding with their rules. And it turned out to be the best thing because what it taught me is this. When you face any type of obstacle in your journey as an entrepreneur, you have to figure it out. You have to figure out what is the best way to mitigate that's going to be cost effective and that's going to meet the goal that you needed. And so for me, I was able to contact my supplier instead of being on the cards because I couldn't afford that. They were able to put it on paper. And so I was able to order the paper and open up each one of the games because I didn't have them wrapped at that time because I was still going to do more testing and I wanted to give some away to the community. So I was able to insert the new rules. And then going forward, that built my confidence in knowing that, you know what, if something happened, just think it through and get it done. You get it done because I feel like that is a part of entrepreneurial too, being able to make decisive decisions and know why you're doing it, but do it in a cost effective way for your business.
Right. There's, so many lessons packed in there. I tell clients all the time, done is better than perfect. Sometimes we just got to go. We can sit on this egg for forever, but at some point it's got to hatch and we got to move forward. Yes. And you lived that. You thought it. You actually probably thought it. Well, I'm good to go. Here we go. And then you survived it. And surviving something like that is so powerful too, because you think, okay, well, I did that. I'm good. What else you got? Not that we want to do those things every day, because I can feel the secondhand anxiety just grabbing me by the throat.
Especially when you think about money. If you're losing money, you're like, oh my God, that's a big mistake because it costs me more money.
Yes, that's we love digital because it's easy to go in and change. Anytime we send something to the printer, we're all just kind of sweaty palms. Like, oh,
Hmm.
hope we spelled everything correctly. It
That
also
is so
reminds me,
true.
have you seen any of the memes on Instagram or something about the Uno rules for the card game Uno, where people are asking questions about, can you play a +4 on top of a +4? And they're saying, no, you can't. And everyone's saying, okay, Uno, we'll take it from here. We don't need you anymore. Like, you obviously don't know how to play your own game.
But you know what? May I say something though? Just quickly, people have no idea how hard it is to write rules.
Hmm.
One of my mentors that SCORE had got a guy to help me, and he was like, "Oh, if you can't write, just get a writer." So I went out to Walmart group talking to people. There is nobody to write your rules because you know your
Yeah.
game. You just have to think, how granular do I want to get,
Hmm.
with the simplicity where I won't offend people,
Hmm.
but make it clear. And then one of the things that I know about gaming so far is that it is a mathematical formula
Hmm.
and it's a story. And so you can write your rules, but then it's also fun when people think of ways to modify it that keeps the fun
Hmm.
going.
Hmm.
So I always keep that in
Yeah.
mind. It's okay for you guys to modify the game as long as you're having fun.
Exactly. That makes me think of when I was growing up. I have a younger brother, and I took some tennis lessons. And one day we were out on the court, and I was teaching him how to play tennis, and he immediately starts beating me. So then I just changed the rules. I said, "Oh no, you're supposed to hit it over the fence."
That's the fun
Yeah.
of
So
it.
bossy older sister. Sorry, Greg, if you're listening to this. Okay. So speaking of little kids and our tendencies, when you were growing up, was there a personality trait of yours that people made you feel like it was a deficient part of you, but now as you've been through so much and you have this business that you're growing, you realize that that personality trait is actually your superpower?
Not necessarily personality trait, but I thought about right now when you said that, that really made me feel sad growing up. Um, I used to have to go to speech classes because I have a speech impediment. And I know you're like,
Yeah.
what? I do. There's certain letters that no matter how hard I try, I just can't form the words right.
Hmm.
And so I'm always guarded about that.
Hmm.
And, sometimes people would make fun, even now, they'll make fun of my speeches, say, oh, you sound a little country, you sound like this or
Mm.
whatever. And it makes me go dark and I sometimes feel less confident.
Mhm.
And in business, I know you have to do a lot of speaking.
Mhm.
And so doing podcasts really helps me to get beyond thinking about me. But actually, I found out as I got older, I started doing training videos, I started doing community acting.
Mhm.
And I found out I have a nice
You
sounding voice
do.
that people don't pick up on my speech impediment. And even when I used to get in front of the classrooms, I'll tell them I may mess up a word. Please forgive me. And they would come up to me and they say, you did so well.
Mhm.
So that was one of the things I outgrew of being, not say bullied, but made fun of the way I spoke.
Mhm.
And I worked very hard to say words correctly.
Mhm.
But then I learned that sometimes whatever our weaknesses are, we can make them our strength
Mhm.
by saying, you know what, it's okay not to be perfect.
Mm.
And I always says that if I'm giving you my 100%, that's all you're getting.
Mm.
Because if I have to give you more than 100%, you're trying to give me a nervous breakdown, and I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go that far
Yeah.
with it. But I have to say that that
Mm.
was something that stayed with me and still stay with me today, Lauren, that I struggle with, that I want to be a effective communicator.
Mhm.
And I think it's my strength today because I'm not afraid to share my experiences, to advocate for these children. I'm not worried about mispronouncing a word. I'm real focused on making sure parents understand the importance of digital balance, and it's beyond me.
Mhm. Mhm. And I think there's so much power too in owning who you are and being vulnerable and
Hmm.
giving other people the the opportunity and permission to be themselves, and you just earn
Yes,
so much grace when you lead with that. I think that's really, it's really beautiful. Thank you for
it's
sharing.
important. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So as we get closer to wrapping up, do you have a piece of advice that our listeners can do today to make their lives stronger or better? Mm-hmm.
Self-awareness. A lot of us are not aware of who we are and what we can be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, once I retired from my federal job, I was done. I had no idea that there was a creative person that can create a game. Can you believe that? Not only create a game, but write a children's book,
Mm-hmm.
because I challenged myself in writing the children's book because I wanted to do something cute and fun for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years later, it's publishing. So I say that to you. You are much bigger than what you think. You can do so much more than what you think.
Mm-hmm.
What it takes is for us to have the courage, the commitment, the resilience, the focus, the concentration, and most importantly, believing in yourself. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You control your destiny and you define what success looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And going forward, do not let anyone tell you no unless you say no and you know what your limit
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. I mean, you've had, and it's not even just, you took a career and then okay, now I'm going to solely consult on my expertise that I spent my working years doing. You have this whole new career that you've created and this whole new path in your life. And I think that's very inspiring that, you're not just what you've done for 30 years. You have so many parts of you that are valuable to yourself in the world.
And I also have to say this, now that I started helping veterans, people say, oh, you should be charging them. Veterans are very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And because I have 30 years of experience in processing claims, that's my opportunity also to give back to my comrades, is to help them to navigate through the process, to ease their anxiety. And so for me, I find it to be joyful, even though it does sometimes take me away from my business. But I feel like I'm getting heaven points.
Yeah.
I'm getting some heaven points, because when those veterans look me in my eye with such sincerity and just say, thank you for helping me, or you can feel it through the phone that you were such a relief. And sometimes I think as entrepreneurs, not only are you trying to monetize and make your money, but also find a way to give back to the community, because when you feel weary, you feel like you're not doing enough. And when you can give back to the community and someone says thank you and they appreciate the time and effort you took to lift them up, then it reminds you of how great you can be with your business, that you do have something other than your business to justify your work.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. All right, friend, where can people buy your game?
Oh, please support a veteran over here. My game is under, I tell you, look it under ZoChey, ZoChey, because it's easier. Both games will populate. Okay. They have weird names, Zomatic, because nomadic, people move all over. Zomatic is because the game, you never keep your hand. It's opposite of Uno. You can find the game at Walmart.
Okay.
So yeah, well, I would love to have you guys support so I can continue to advocate and have resources to go to places and really spread the word about veterans. Because I hope in the future, Lauren, I really hope to have parent conferences where we can have conferences sponsored and bring parents and kids in and teach them some parental skills and bring that unity, that family value back. So we all have a wonderful world of respect and honoring each other and understanding that we are unique and we all have value to each other.
Taking us home on a high note. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
We will put the links to your games in the show notes so everyone can click and shop right there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for listening to The Impatient Entrepreneur. Love the podcast? Be sure to share it with a friend or colleague or give us a 5-star review on Apple. You can also chat with us on Instagram or Facebook at The Impatient Entrepreneur Pod. Want to star on a future episode? Head over to theimpatientrepreneur.com to inquire. Thank you to the team at Quidar & Co. for believing in me and bringing this podcast to life. And thank you to Carson Childers for mixing and editing this episode. Can't wait to see you next time.